Behind every closed door, there's a secret waiting to be revealed. In Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 4 left us with one of the most chilling and mysterious cliffhangers yet. That strange door, what's behind it? Is it a weapon, a monster, or maybe something far more personal to Peacemaker himself? Episode 5 promises to pull back the curtain, and the answer could reshape not only this season but the future of the DC universe on screen. The story of Peacemaker has always been about more than just a guy with a helmet and a violent streak. It's a character study wrapped in chaos, comedy, and heart. Season 1 showed us a broken man trying to live up to his father's impossible shadow, while also learning to form bonds with people he never thought he'd care about. By the end of that journey, Christopher Smith, our Peacemaker, had started to grow, to change. But Season 2? It's pulling him right back into the fire. Episode 4's ending wasn't just a random twist. James Gunn, the mind behind Peacemaker, and much of the DCU's future is famous for planting seeds early on that later bloom into shocking revelations. That door, hidden away and teased so carefully, is not a throwaway detail. It's a story device meant to shift the stakes. And Episode 5 is where the puzzle begins to form its bigger picture. Think about it. Peacemaker isn't just fighting enemies outside aliens, villains, or government operatives. He's constantly battling the ghosts inside his own head. His father, White Dragon, still lingers in his mind, haunting him even after death. His guilt over the people he's killed, his struggle with self-worth, and his desperate need to belong. All of these threads weave into the question of what's behind that door. Could it be physical danger? Yes, but it could just as easily be symbolic, something tied directly to his deepest fears. The placement of this door at the halfway point of the season is no coincidence. By Episode 5, most shows hit what's called a mid-season turning point. This is where the tension explodes, secrets come to light, and everything the characters thought they knew gets flipped upside down. For Peacemaker, the door represents that exact moment. It's the show telling us, buckle up, things are about to get even messier. When we think about Peacemaker as part of the bigger DCU, the mystery of the door grows even larger. James Gunn isn't just writing a show in isolation, he's laying down groundwork for his new shared universe. That means Episode 5 could hold connections beyond this series. A villain reveal, a tease of a larger threat, or maybe even a hidden tie to upcoming projects like Waller or Creature Commandos. Every choice matters. Every detail counts. And let's not forget the supporting cast. Vigilante's unpredictable loyalty, Harcourt's ongoing internal conflict, and the possibility of betrayal within the team all create the perfect storm for what Episode 5 could deliver. If the door does reveal something catastrophic, the fallout will test every single character in ways we haven't seen yet. So, as we prepare for Episode 5, one thing is certain: the door isn't just about what's on the other side. It's about what it represents for Peacemaker and his world. Fear, change, destiny, whatever lies behind it. It's the catalyst that pushes the show from mystery into full-blown chaos. Episode 4 didn't just end with a door, it built an entire stage of tension leading to it. To understand why Episode 5 is so crucial, we have to trace back every step that brought Peacemaker and his team here. This is where the show truly tightened its grip, blending dark humor, brutal action, and emotional scars in equal measure. At the heart of it all is Christopher Smith himself. We saw him struggle in Season 1, but Episode 4 of this season takes that internal conflict and magnifies it. He still cracks jokes, he still plays the fool, but behind every wisecrack there's that heavy shadow of doubt. His father's voice still lingers, mocking him, tearing at him. Even in death, White Dragon's presence has become almost supernatural, a ghost chained to Peacemaker's soul. This recurring torment makes every mission harder, every choice heavier. The door isn't just a physical barrier, it feels like the embodiment of the nightmares that stalk him. Meanwhile, Vigilante continues to play the role of chaotic best friend, but in Episode 4 his blind loyalty starts to look dangerous. We saw his actions create complications that could unravel the team's fragile balance. He's the wild card, and Episode 4 made that clearer than ever. He's willing to fight alongside Peacemaker without question, but his inability to see The bigger picture could be the very thing that breaks the team apart. This reckless energy adds an edge of unpredictability to whatever's waiting on the other side of the door. Then there's Harcourt. Once cold, distant, and strictly by the book, she has slowly opened up, but episode 4 revealed cracks in her armor. She's caught in a battle between duty and loyalty. She knows the bigger mission, but she also knows the people on her team, their flaws, their trauma, and their humanity. Her hesitation in key moments shows us she's not the unshakable agent she pretends to be. And in a story where one wrong step could trigger disaster, Harcourt's inner conflict becomes just as dangerous as any outside threat. We also can't ignore the government forces circling in the background. Amanda Waller's fingerprints are always present, even when she's not on screen. Episode 4 dropped small hints that her reach is wider than we thought, and her interest in what lies behind the door might not just be about national security. Knowing Waller, it's about control, leverage, and power. If she's pulling strings here, then episode 5 might reveal that Peacemaker and his crew are pawns in a much larger game, the way episode 4 builds. Tension is pure James Gunn. The humor is sharp, the action is brutal, but beneath it all is an undercurrent of dread. Every joke feels like it's masking fear. Every moment of violence feels like it's covering up something far more sinister. And when the camera finally lingered on that door, it was like the show took a deep breath and whispered, "Everything changes here." This is where the brilliance of the setup shines. The door isn't just a literal object, it's a narrative tool. It's the promise of revelation, the kind that makes fans speculate wildly. Is it hiding a creature? A villain from deep within DC Comics lore? Or is it something even more personal, something designed to shatter Peacemaker's fragile progress and send him spiraling back into chaos? Episode 4 didn't give us answers, but it gave us just enough to let our imaginations run wild. And let's not overlook the structure. By the 4th episode, the season had established its rhythm comedy. Chaos, trauma, repeat. But ending with the door was Gunn's way of saying, that rhythm? Forget it, we're about to change tempo. This is the essence of mid-season storytelling. The audience is lulled into a sense of familiarity, and then with one shocking image, the entire story tilts into uncharted territory. Episode 4's recap isn't just a list of events, it's a map of rising stakes. Every character is stretched thinner. Every choice feels heavier. Every shadow feels darker. And in the middle of it all stands that closed door, silent and foreboding. It's not just the end of one episode, it's the beginning of the next chapter, the threshold into episode 5, where speculation becomes revelation, and mystery turns into danger. Asterisk, if episode 4 was about raising questions, then episode 5 is where those questions begin to sharpen into possibilities. And the biggest one remains. What's behind the door? The brilliance of James Gunn's storytelling is that the answer could fall anywhere between the outrageous and the deeply personal. To break it down, let's explore the most compelling theories grounded in what we know from the show, the comics, and the wider DC universe. The first and perhaps most straightforward theory is that the door hides a creature or weapon tied to the larger threat. The DCU has no shortage of bizarre beings, and Gunn loves diving into the weird corners of comic book history. We've already seen alien butterflies in Season 1, so Episode 5 could introduce something just as unsettling. Imagine if the door is a containment unit for some experimental monster, or worse, an otherworldly entity that Waller and her agencies want to weaponize. It would instantly raise the stakes from personal conflict to global danger, forcing Peacemaker and his team into a battle they're barely prepared for. But the second theory digs into something far more personal, a ghost from Peacemaker's past. We've already seen how his father's memory haunts him. Could the door be connected to some secret tied to his family, his childhood, or a past mission? James Gunn has made it clear that Peacemaker's story is as much about trauma as it is about heroics. If what's behind the door taps directly into his psychological scars, Episode 5 could turn into an emotional minefield. Maybe it's not just a monster, it's a metaphor made real, something designed to break him mentally before it even attacks physically. The third theory looks outward, toward the bigger DC Universe connections. With Gunn building a new slate of DC projects, Episode 5 could plant seeds for what's coming next. Could the door tie into Amanda Waller's spin-off series? Could it hint at the Creature Commandos animated show, which shares Gunn's twisted, offbeat tone? Or even serve as a setup for villains or storylines that might carry into films like Superman, Legacy? It wouldn't be the first time a TV episode slipped in a breadcrumb for the wider universe. If this theory is true, Episode 5 becomes more than just a turning point in Peacemaker's journey. It becomes a launchpad for the DCU itself. Then there's the idea of betrayal from within the team. Episode 4 made it clear that not everyone is aligned in their motives. Vigilante's recklessness, Harcourt's hesitation, and Waller's influence all create fertile ground for internal conflict. What if the door isn't hiding a monster at all, but instead the truth-classified information, hidden tech, or evidence of someone's double-cross? In that case, Episode 5 could shatter trust among the team, forcing Peacemaker to question not just what's behind the door, but who around him he can really depend on. And finally, the wild card theory. It's something completely unexpected. James Gunn has a reputation for blindsiding audiences with strange humor and left-field twists. Remember the Eagly Dance? The alien cow? Nobody saw those coming. Episode 5 could follow that same pattern, turning the door into a reveal so absurd or shocking that it shifts the tone entirely. Maybe it's grotesque. Maybe it's hilarious. Or maybe it's both, because in Peacemaker, the line between comedy and horror is razor thin. What makes all of these theories exciting is that they're not mutually exclusive. The door could hide a creature that ties into Peacemaker's trauma, while also connecting to the larger DCU. That's the kind of layered storytelling James Gunn thrives on. It's never just one thing, it's always a web of consequences, each one feeding into the next. Episode 5, then, isn't just another episode. It's the hinge of the season. What's behind the door will determine the direction of the remaining story. If it's a creature, we're in for all-out chaos. If it's a secret, the team's foundation could crumble. If it's a DCU tie-in, the series just became a critical puzzle piece for the larger universe. And if it's something wild and unexpected, then Peacemaker has once again proven it can surprise us when we least expect it. So as we wait, we're left with one certainty. The door is more than a mystery. It's a promise. A promise that Episode 5 won't just answer questions, it will change the game. At this point, the mystery of the door has transformed into more than just a single plot device. It's the beating heart of anticipation for Episode 5. And when you take a step back and look at everything that's been built so far, the trauma-haunting Peacemaker, the cracks forming within the team, and the invisible hand of Amanda Waller, it's clear that whatever is revealed will not only reshape the season but also define the path forward for this entire series. Think about the layers at play here. On the surface, Peacemaker has always been about outrageous violence, offbeat humor, and a lead character who never quite knows if he's a hero or a disaster waiting to happen. But beneath all that chaos lies a human story, one about someone desperate for belonging, for redemption, for a sense of worth. The door, in many ways, feels like a metaphorical crossroad. Step through it, and Peacemaker either breaks down further or rises into something stronger. Leave it shut, and the questions, the fears, the ghosts, those continue to control him. Episode 5 forces the story to choose, but this isn't just about one man's journey. It's about a team trying to function under impossible conditions. Harcourt's doubts, Vigilante's recklessness, Economos' unease, they've all been simmering, waiting for the right spark to ignite into conflict. The door could be that spark. If what's behind it divides them, the second half of the season might not be about fighting external enemies, but instead about surviving each other's mistrust. And in a show where loyalty is as fragile as glass, that could be the most explosive twist of all. There's also the looming shadow of the DC universe itself. We can't ignore that James Gunn isn't telling this story in isolation. Every episode of Peacemaker carries the potential to ripple outward into the bigger projects he's building. Episode 5 sits at the perfect midpoint for a reveal that could tie this series directly into the broader DCU, whether through characters, organizations, or unseen threats. Imagine if the door is the first breadcrumb toward a villain who challenges not only Peacemaker, but also heroes in upcoming films. Suddenly, this isn't just one man's story, it's the foundation of an entire universe, and let's not forget Gunn's signature style, the mix of absurdity and heartbreak. Episode 5 could break us with tragedy, then blindside us with something bizarrely hilarious. That duality is what makes Peacemaker unpredictable, and it's why the reveal behind the door could be something no fan has guessed correctly yet. Gunn thrives on surprising audiences, on giving them exactly what they didn't know they wanted. And that's why Episode 5 has the potential to become the season's most talked about moment. So where does that leave us? It leaves us waiting. Speculating, debating every clue from trailers, promotional stills, and the story so far. It leaves us rewatching scenes, wondering if that offhand joke was actually foreshadowing. It leaves us questioning not only what's behind the door, but what it will mean for every character once it swings open. And that's the beauty of it. The suspense isn't just about the reveal. It's about how the reveal will ripple through the rest of the story as we head into Episode 5. One thing is certain, the truth is going to hurt. It might be shocking, it might be hilarious, it might even be both, but it will change everything. And when the dust settles, Peacemaker won't be the same. His team won't be the same. And maybe, just maybe, the DC Universe won't be the same either. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think is behind the door? Do you believe it's a monster, a secret weapon, a ghost from Peacemaker's past, or something completely insane that only James Gunn could dream up? Drop your theories in the comments below, because half the fun of a mystery like this is piecing it together as a community. And trust me, when Episode 5 finally drops, we'll be back here breaking down every single detail, every reference, and every consequence of what's revealed. Until then, remember this. Sometimes the scariest part isn't opening the door. It's knowing that once it's open, nothing will ever be the same again.